Stop, stop, stop. Stop creating the problems I'm about to show you. Now, a lot of people contact me because they're not making sales of their books. They're getting errors when they try to upload the books. When they do upload them, they're getting them rejected. And in some cases, getting their account outright banned or terminated. So I'm going to give you my top 7 areas that are causing people problems and how you can prevent these issues yourself. Now, if you've not been to this channel before, then welcome. My name is Paul Miles, and I do videos on how to make it, keep it, and grow it, and that's your money I'm talking about. If you do like videos like that, then please do give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I produce more videos like this. So let's get into these 7 areas straight away, and this is all part of the KDP no content, low content book upload process. Now, the first area is with regards titles, and we can see I've got 2 titles here. The top one is good. The bottom one is not so good. And the first issue is around the use of keywords. Now, using keywords in the title is a good place to get your main keyword, which can help customers who are looking for your book find your book. Now, in the top example is mileage logbook. And this is a good keyword. If we go over to the Amazon search platform and put in mileage logbook, we can see here from the Amazon suggestions that this is one of their suggestions. So they're telling us that people are actually searching for this book, and people that are searching for mileage logbooks are obviously looking for mileage logbooks. And so if they find our book, there's a good chance of making a sale. With the second example, and I see this quite frequently, people try to be more original with the titles of their books. So we'll do something like, in this example, call it Help the Taxman. And in the subtitle, put something like Mileage Logbook for Taxes and Business. Unfortunately, they're wasting that most important spot to get their keyword in. And if we go over to Amazon and look at Help the Taxman, we can see here there are no suggestions. So first of all, Amazon is telling us that no one is actually searching for this particular keyword, or not many people anyway. But the other issue would be if someone was putting this into the search bar, Help the Taxman, well, they could be looking for any number of different types of things. It could be books on taxes, it could be books on accountancy, not necessarily mileage logbook. So if our book did appear, even at number 1 for that search term, it may well not be a book that someone's looking for, and so we won't get the sale. Second issue is with regards capitalization of the words in the title. Now, you may not think this is a big thing, but it is. And often, a lot of time, it can be if English is not your first language, which is entirely understandable. And the first example, we've got all the main keywords here capitalized. In the second example, one of the main words, taxman, is not capitalized, and it should be. Now, small words like the, and, it, of don't need to be capitalized, but the main words do. Now, the reason why this is important is because it gives your book that professional look. Now, when people do find your book and they see it on the search page, if it's not capitalized, it says subconsciously to the customer that this isn't particularly professional, and it can cause your book to get overlooked and stop people clicking on it. Now, as I said, it is a big issue. The other issue is regards trademark, and I get problems, I get questions about this a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of the issues and the questions I get are around people's accounts being banned. And, Amazon has a 0 tolerance policy on this. And 2 of the main areas that causes issues are around using Disney characters in the title or Marvel characters, or using the word Disney and Marvel. For some reason, those seem to be the main areas. What I say is, if you are trying to make money off someone else's creation or another company's creation, then it's likely that you're going to be breaching copyright and be breaching trademark. So don't do it if you want to cherish your account. Now, if you're unsure whether your title is going to breach trademark or some component of the title is going to breach trademark, then go over to uspto.gov, click on trademarks, click on tests to search the trademark database, click on basic word search, and put in the word or search term or title in that box and do a search and see what comes up. You also need to look at the class and also the goods and services under which a trademark appears to see if that is in, the printed book matter, that type of thing. My advice is, even if you then are still unsure, then contact a copyright or trademark lawyer. My general advice would be, if you're still unsure, don't use it, because there are so many opportunities in this business. If you start, looking at words that you're not sure if are trademarked or copyrighted, the quickest thing and best thing to do, reject it, go on to something else. Second area, the subtitles. First example, good example of a subtitle. Second example is a poor example. The first example, simple auto mileage tracking notebook for tax and business. It reads like a normal sentence. The issue with the second example is something I see often, and that's keyword stuffing. We can see mileage, logbook, notebook, auto mileage tracker, planner. It's just stuffed with keywords. One, when you read it, it doesn't make sense, which puts customers off. And there's a chance that you're not going to get your book listed for any of those keywords, because Amazon will just look at that. And, the algorithms do know if you're just stuffing a subtitle with keywords, and quite often it will get your book rejected as well. So I'd avoid doing that. Just try and get maybe 1 or maximum 2 keywords in your subtitle and make it read like a normal sentence. Second issue with this second example is, again, capitalization of the main words, and we can see these words here are not capitalized. It looks odd when a customer, particularly an English-speaking customer, which is your biggest market in the US, when they come across that, it just doesn't look right, and so again stops people clicking on your books and prevents you from getting your sale. The other option is using strange punctuation, characters or symbols within the subtitle. Here you've got these, are they characters or punctuations? I'm not too sure. But whatever they are, the biggest issue here would be that the spacing between the words and that symbol is incorrect. You need to put a space there. My advice is, don't use them at all. If you're going to use anything, maybe just use a hyphen, a single hyphen within the subtitle. But avoid using commas, punctuation. Again, it doesn't make the subtitle look right, and it will put customers off. And just looks very amateurish. Third area that causes some consternation is around the use of series and gets people's books rejected. Now, series are designed primarily for fiction and non-fiction works. Think of a series of films, Fast and Furious 1, Fast and Furious 2, Fast and Furious 3. They're designed mainly for stories or works that have a follow-on to each previous or following book. So, an example I get is someone's created maybe 6-7 notebooks, all similar titles, subtitles, but in different colors, and they want to, or think that is a series and want to include that in their listing, but they get that rejected. And that's the reason. Series are not designed for no content or low content books. It's mainly for fiction and non-fiction works that follow on from each other. So avoid using series. Fourth area is around the use of author names. First example is a reasonable example. The second example is an example that will get your book rejected, and the reason is the use of keywords in the author name. Now, when I first started, you could get away with having an author name like Mileage Logbook, but Amazon has cracked down on this. So if you start using things like notebooks, journal, logbook in your author name, then it's likely to get your book rejected, and you just have to go and change your author name. So avoid using keywords in your author name. Just come up with a pen name or a brand name that doesn't have keywords. Fifth thing that causes issues is around categories and picking categories. And lately I've seen books rejected because people are publishing in categories that are not related to their book. My biggest piece of advice is don't overthink this. Just go through the categories. Most of them will be in the non-fiction section, and pick out 2 categories which closely resemble what your book is about. The biggest problem usually is things like, just general notebooks and journals, trying to find something that's mostly relevant. Just pick something that's closest to it. If your book does get rejected, then yes, you'll just have to change the category. But yeah, just pick 2. Don't overthink it. Sixth thing that causes issues. Now, this causes issues with trying to upload your book when you get to the launch previewer stage and you get those errors. First area is around bleed or no bleed, and that comes from a lack of understanding about what bleed or no bleed is and not creating the correct interior size if your book has bleed. In general, if you have content on your pages that goes to the edges of the pages, like these two examples here, your book has bleed. If the content on your pages doesn't go to the end of the pages, then your book has no bleed. Now, if your book does have bleed, you need to make the pages larger. Here in this example, we've got a 6 by 9 inch page. And for this, you would need to increase the page size by adding 0.125 inches to the top, 0.125 inches to the bottom, and 0.125 inches to one side. So if this was a 6 by 9 inch book, the interior would now become 6.125 inches by 9.25 inches. This would also be the same if you were doing an 8.5 by 11 inch book. The interior would then become 8.625 inches by 11.25 inches. So that's an important area. And the second issue comes around margins. Now, when you have your interior page like this, you have to have important content that you don't want cut off during the trimming process within a border. Here we can see this red border, which is the margins, and all important content has to be within that margin. Otherwise, you'll either get the error when trying to upload, or you will get your book rejected. Now, this applies to whether you're creating a notebook or journal with some important written content in there, whether it's a logbook, or even, and this causes some confusion, if it's a colouring book. Now, if you've got a colouring book and you've got content that goes to the edges of the pages, but you've got content within the centre that is important and you don't want to risk getting cut off when the page is trimmed, that has to go within the margins. Now, you need to calculate those margins. Now, you can go to the KDP help page where it'll tell you what the margins should be. Or I've created a video on this about bleed, no bleed, or margins, where I'll tell you about the margin sizes that you need to calculate. So I suggest going to watch that if you need further information on that. And the seventh and final issue is with regards to cover. And again, this causes errors at the launch preview stage, and that's using the wrong size units when creating your blank template in the software where you're creating the the cover. And this is usually when people are using Canva, which is a common software platform that people use to create their covers because it's free. And this is the issue. We can see here, if you download your template from the KDP template creator, we've got this figure here, which is the overall dimensions of your template, which is what you use to create your blank page in your software platform. So what a lot of people do when they go to Canva is go to the right-hand side here, click on custom size, and put in the dimensions of the page or the cover. Now you can see here, it actually comes up with an error, which I don't think it used to do. It just used to have the create new design. You click on new design, create your cover, upload it to the KDP platform, go to launch previewer, and it comes out looking odd. I think it usually comes out looking enlarged. And the reason for that is here, the right-hand side. Most people just leave this as is, which is PX, which stands for pixels. Instead, what you need to do, and this is vitally important, is change that to inches. And then you'd have to put in the dimensions again. So now your cover template will be in the right dimensions of 12.52 by 9.25 inches, or whatever size you were creating from your template. That's a big issue. Most people don't realize what's actually happened. Everything just looks odd. That's the major cause. Now, if you're new to the whole book publishing business, particularly no content and low content books, I would suggest starting at my book tutorials playlist here, where I go through all the different stages of creating the books and how to do it correctly. Thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, goodbye.